Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Kectil YouTube channel. And today we have a really great guest for our conversation. It is Favour, who is making a difference in mental health and in youth leadership. Uh, he's doing really great job in his community, and as a project lead of the Kectil community project Beyond Stigma, he has championed mental well-being and inclusion among young people. So let's explore his journey and the power of creativity for change. So thank you very, very much, Faith, for the chance for being today with us and for this awesome conversation that we are going to start.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to be here, to be able to express myself and share on the things I've been working on. And yes, with the global Kectil audience. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks a lot, Favor. And could you tell us a bit more about your early life and what inspired your journey into creativity and leadership and the projects that you're doing right now?
Okay. I hail from Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria. I'm the only child of my parents. And well, that I can say has had some social impact in my life, being an only child. And growing up, I didn't really get to associate a lot, with people, just school, school classmates and all that. And I think it has contributed to the reason I'm not a football fan. I'm not really big on football. I mean, I can talk about it, but I can't really, go in depth about it. And that is probably due to the fact that while growing up, I didn't really have a lot of people to, watch football with or talk about football with. Talking about what has inspired my leadership journey. Basically, leadership for me is all about what can I give? How can I contribute my quota to a particular cause that is of interest to myself and to others as well. So it's all about what can I contribute? And that has led me to getting involved. Although my leadership journey started mostly in my university days as an undergraduate. And personally, I've never really had this, I've always been politically inclined, but I've never really had this interest to join, participate in the school political system. And that is basically due to the stories or things we've heard before we got into the system. The fact that some of the student elections are usually mad with some levels of gangsterism and violence and the involvement of cultism among young people. So, but getting in, I saw that politics trumps everything. I mean, capital is impact is very, very capital intensive. And one of the ways young people who, especially if you come from a humble background, can actually make a change or make a difference is to participate in the political system of whatever society or institution they find themselves in. And that is what led me into, participating, starting with an ambassadorial role from my Faculty of Engineering and Technology, and moving on to the national body. Well, some of the things for me, youth leadership and creativity has always worked hand in hand, and I employ one to the advantage of the other. Of course, if you're going to be an advocate for something, it means you're going to have to represent or speak up for something that you believe in. And what better way to communicate your ideas, your ideologies, your perspective to an audience than storytelling? And this has formed the basis of my journey into creativity. If I'm to mention about noteworthy experiences for me in youth leadership, it would be two. One, which was my position as the Deputy Senate President of the Student Union Government at Rizali University, which the tenure only lasted for 1 month as opposed to an entire academic year. And that is due to the protest we led on behalf of the students regarding the school fees hike then. So we led the protest. It lasted for a month. And when resolutions were eventually made, the government, the school administration, they just had to dissolve us. That was the price we had to pay for that. And also venturing into the Edo Students Association, I've been able to, you know, establish a communique to provide free and accessible healthcare for students of Amritsar University. And mostly, I've been able to do this through building a great network of people as well as effective collaboration with like minds. Yes.
Thank you very much for sharing that. I just realized how little things I know about you. So for me, it's really big chance, to get to know you even more better with your journey because it's really inspiring. And also, as far as I know, you got a degree in electrical and electronics engineering. Am I right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
how did your transition into the creativity industry begin, and what kind of challenges you faced into this transition journey?
Okay. My journey into creativity started before I got into the university. I come from a family of artists. My father
Wow.
is an artist. My great-grandfather is an artist.
Wow.
So I So yes, and I'm also an artist, but I've found a way to channel my artistry into the digital space. Of course, the world is evolving. People are going from hand drawings, book and pen to digital, with your phone or with your tablet and so on, vector illustrations and all that. So I started with my mobile phone. I don't know if you know the application Pixel Lab. It's on Play Store.
I
I started
heard
using
something.
that.
I heard
Yeah,
something about that, but never use it.
yeah. So I started exploring. I explored with Pixel Lab. I explored with Canva, but mostly Pixel Lab. So I started, playing around with colors and shapes, and I discovered that there's a chance that, I could monetize this. Looking at posters and designing them on my mobile phone, and I discovered I could actually design flyers for people and make money of it. So, of course, like I said, I've always had a really great network of people. So, through that, I started making free designs. Then I got introduced, and mostly my clientele is made up of referrals. So, getting into the university, I had a whole community to explore. So, I started designing my Android phone. Even up to this very day, I still design my Android phone. One of the major challenges I had then was getting a laptop to carry out my, designs and jobs for clients. But I discovered that because this is one area that people tend not to notice. When you come online, you go on social media, you look at creators, everyone has a whole decks set up with the big computer screen with ambient lighting and all of that. And people really get discouraged. They feel if I can't have these things or before I'm able to start, I need to have these things set up. And that really discourages a lot of people into getting into the creative industry. I've been doing this for 8 years. I've worked with a lot of clients across various sectors, construction, food, politics, entertainment, and so on. And for the most part, I've done my jobs with my Android phone. It's very, very possible to do. So that is why you just have to get started. As you go on, like Mark Zuckerberg said, he said, ideas don't come out fully formed. They only get better as you work on them. So as you go on, you begin to expand and you begin to discover more of yourself. Yes.
Great. Thank you very much for sharing that. It's really, interesting to get more know some people in this industry. For me, it's a completely new thing, to be honest. I'm more from business part, less from creativity part, but that's really, really nice. Maybe you remember some of the impactful projects that you did or some examples of the creativity project that you did with your clients or other projects, as you mentioned, that made really great, impact on you and your self-development?
Okay. Some of the projects I would say was very notable ones, include volunteering aspect and paid roles. So the first one, while in my second year in the university, when I came back from the national body, Noesa National, from the conference, I volunteered with the Hot Prize Foundation as a graphic designer. So eventually I rose up to the position of head graphic designer. So I led the creative team for Hot Prize and Brazilian University. And then we really, really, really worked on a lot of projects, using creativity to, using design and creativity to communicate Hot Prize's vision, to a broader audience. So it was a competition, global competition. So we really, really had to stand out. And also, in most of my positions that I've been in, like NICE, the NICE social nights that I did as a NICE president, I've used my skills personally to um, amplify NICE's mission, even with the communique we established with the Edu Health Insurance Scheme. I've been able to, use creativity, employ creativity in amplifying my mission. And one that is very, very recent is my Kectil community project. Like, if you observe most of the media works, you see the pictures, the video highlights, they were all, every single thing was dictated by me personally. We initially hired someone to carry out the video edits, but the results I got was not exactly up to the standard I wanted. So, because I just wanted to focus on doing the project, making the impact. I didn't want to distract myself with media works. But when the first video highlights came, I wasn't really satisfied with it. I'm not a perfectionist, by the way, but I just have a particular standard that I work with. So I had to take the raw video content, and edit everything from scratch by myself. So that is why I said youth leadership and creativity has always worked hand in hand. And even for paid roles with my clients, those are just personal businesses. But in my journey towards leadership and advocacy, in trying to pass my message to a greater audience, in trying to advocate for certain interests, I've used design and visual communications as a very, very, very important tool to amplify my mission. Yes.
Thanks a lot. You're doing a great job. I saw your videos, I saw your posts about the project that you're doing. That's really awesome. And I got a lot of inspiration once read what you texted and saw your video and your work. And I'm so proud the job that you're doing
Okay.
and how you're doing it, how you're managing. You're a really great leader. And yeah, that's really nice. And if we talk about creativity, yeah, about this industry, and you're also working with the social projects, so maybe you can share some challenges as well that you face as a creative professional in driving social change. So, what was the most challenging thing for you to doing any social projects?
Well, I would say the most challenging, which is usually the most challenging for any project that you want to carry out, is usually funding, for your project. It's funding. So when I actually started to, carry on, will I say, like larger scale project as the NICE president, because then I wanted to carry out a social project, like a social event to bring people together and, amplify the name of the association that I was representing, because it was an independent association, though it has already been integrated into the school system, but we didn't have a structure that students follow by like paying of dues and, associational accounts that we could actually get funds from to carry out projects. So, and I really wanted to do the social event. So, saying that I couldn't fund it alone, what I did was I opened my toolbox and took out my my favorite tool, and that is collaboration. So that is one thing I always emphasize for young people to come out to collaborate. If I have a skill, I have a talent, everything is not just about money or funding. Sometimes the things you need to achieve what you want are embedded in others, in other people. So I went to show promoters, I went to businesses to collaborate with them, seek their funding, seek their support to carry out the tasks that I wanted to do. And some of the challenges I've also had is, you know, affiliating myself with governments, the government body. Yes, I have friends, but sometimes here, especially here in Nigeria, politicians can be very, very, very petty. Politicians can be very petty. So if you do not belong to a particular party or the ruling party, it may be very difficult getting support for projects that you want and for to carry out projects that you want, because some of these politicians see how your project can be of
Mhm.
advantage to them and their image as well. So if you're not someone who is politically invested, it may be really challenging for you to get the needed support that you want. And we've also faced that in our community project as well, this recent community project as well. So these are some of the challenges, and through collaboration, amongst others, but collaboration, most importantly, I've been able to overcome some of these hurdles and challenges.
Great. Thank you very much for sharing that. Yeah. No, I completely agree with those challenges. I believe that, like, at least mostly all facing those challenges when they started their own projects and they wanted to do really great social impact on the community or even beyond. So yeah, it's important, to mention those challenges and mention what is your experience with dealing with them, because maybe someone who's looking us for today, just get some additional ideas how to manage some circumstances, how to go through this path and getting better for their ideas. Yeah, so thank you very, very much for sharing your story, for sharing your experience. And I also want to discuss a bit with you about leadership and community work that you're doing. And specifically, uh, could you tell us a bit more about your leadership philosophy? So, what maybe three top points that you have for you that you categorize that this person is a leader or not? So, what does it mean to be a leader for you?
Yeah, thank you very, very much for this question. For me, the core foundation of leadership is service, servitude. And that forms the entire basis of leadership for me. It's not just about titles or positions or being at the top or being the boss. It's all about what can I offer. I draw from the word of late Moses Osaikede, who said that life is only worth living to the extent that it is lived in service to humanity. And that is why, for me, leadership encompasses service over self, service over self. But because leadership and service are like two parts cut from the same cloth, one, they go hand in hand. And as leaders, we are supposed to be servant leaders. Some of the reasons for the challenges we face today in our society, which includes bad leadership, is that leaders get into offices or positions to for their own personal gains, for their self. They prioritize self over service, and it should be the other way around, because as a leader, your power responsibility is to cater to and serve the interest of whatever institutions, body, organizations, or political entities that you're representing. And that, to me, is the core essence of leadership.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for mentioning that. And you have also a strong background in student leadership, as far as I know, and you mentioned as well. So, how did that experience shape you? Maybe there have been some, I don't know, cases that help you to, understand that this is what is mean to be an authentic leader.
My experience in student leadership has really shaped me in several ways, and I can't even really begin to mention because it's vast. From my 100 level days, I've been involved. From my
Mhm.
first year to the final year, I spent 5 years in the university, 5 academic sessions, actually, not 5 years because there were some strikes and we had to go home for 5 academic sections. And through those academic sections, I've been involved both locally and nationally. So some of the experiences that I have that has really shaped me is, first of all, they were on the very early stage. It was like a learning phase for me, even though that I was involved in it. So going to meetings, high level meetings with certain officials or professionals and seeing how because the person that appointed me was the vice president, the national vice president of the Nigerian Universities Engineering Student Association then. So I followed him to lots and lots of meetings. And going to those meetings, I was able to learn how to carry out high level engagement, relate with people, and how to better pass a message across to, high level individuals. And moving on to my final year, when I eventually became the NIAS president, I've been able to use the skills to establish certain synergies, with relevant bodies in favor of my student interest. So, like the notable one I mentioned is establishing a communique with the Edo Health Insurance Commission to provide free and accessible healthcare to students of Ambosali University. And through that, I've also been able to collaborate with those bodies to carry out a health awareness program where there were free tests and health sensitizations. So these various levels of engagement has groomed me, into becoming the person I am today. And of course, I can say it's only starting because I'm still very young and there's still a lot for me to do. There's still a lot for me to learn and I'm still learning. And I remain a consistent student of life. So I keep learning, I keep growing, and I keep tackling new possible challenges ahead.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for sharing that. And also, a lot of young people who want to start their own journey in leadership, starting their own social projects as well, they are facing this challenge, with inspiring other young people to be with them, to volunteer, to help, and also, encourage community to support them into this way. So maybe you have some experience and some advices. How do you inspire young people to lead with purpose, to do some changes, some impact on their communities, and how to work with different social projects?
Okay. First of all, I'd say it's not something that just starts for me based on personal experience. Like I said, over time, I've built a very large network of people. I don't have many friends. I have just very, very few friends, but I have a very large network of people, different sets of people, youth leaders, community figures, government officials, so, and this network is what has aided my journey, even while I was contesting for the position of deputy senate president in a school of over 30,000 people. And I won the election. I won not because I had the most money to spend, but because of the network of people that I've built over time. So one thing I always advise people that are coming up, wanting to start their own project and leadership journey is to network with the right people and always choose collaboration over competition. My community project started with just me. This Beyond Stigma fostering mental well-being and inclusive communities, it started with just me. So I met with the member representing Evbuomwan constituency at the Edo State Youth Parliament, and she offered, because she is also someone that works with NGOs. She works with NGOs and she participates in volunteering roles, and she's also someone that seeks the needed experience. So we're able to collaborate together, and through that collaboration, we've been able to bring others on board. So one thing I advise people is work with like minds. There are people like you in the social impact space. There are others that are in the entertainment space. Like when I wanted to carry out my social events for NICE, I met with an entertainer, a show promoter, someone who is vast in the entertainment space and could really help me, pull it off. So we're able to sell out over 500 tickets, and we got the hall sold out through that collaboration. And now that I wanted to do my Kectil community project, I collaborated with a youth leader and a community figure for this particular purpose. So understand that working with the right people can be very, very important. Even if you need funding for your project, when you're able to collaborate with necessary people, you don't have all the contacts. You don't have all the contacts that you need. Like most of the engagements I've had in this community project, some of those contacts, I got them from the people that I've collaborated with. So collaboration expands. So the more you collaborate with like minds, people who have that interest, people who have that vision, who share a similar vision with you, you don't really need to push them. Because to be very honest, we live in a give and take world. Nobody wants to partake in something unless they have something to gain from it. And that's just the let's say sad reality of things, especially when it's monetary. People only want to participate in something when there are monetary gains for it or when they have something to gain for it. So the best thing is to explore and find the interest of others. Some people, their interest and their passion is to engage in projects, volunteer in roles. And some people are out there, they are looking for experiences. They have no experience. They want to build a portfolio, possibly based on the dream that they're chasing. So they are looking to build a portfolio. So you can engage with these people and bring them on board. You can engage with these people and bring them on board. So at the end of the day, it still boils down with collaboration. But when collaboration is done rightly with people of like minds, with people of particular interest, like I mentioned, those looking to build their portfolio, those looking to gain real world experiences, you bring them on board to work with you, and you don't really have to push them by so doing. And well, that's it. And if you're the type that have the money, you can just pay people to do what you want. But if you're someone that is just starting up, growing, you do not have much needed resources to carry out the impact or project that you want to, your best bet would be collaborating with the right people to do it. Like I said, people have various interests. Some are looking to build a portfolio, some are looking to get involved, some are looking to, amplify a particular vision through your project. So spot the needs and interest of people by networking with them, and find those that their vision rightly aligns with yours and collaborate with them. Just get started and you see from there, it's fully up.
Great, thank you very much for sharing that. It's really, important thing that you mentioned. So yeah, thanks a lot. And now I want to also just a bit talk about your project that you're doing, Mental Health and Beyond Stigma project. So could you please tell us more about the idea? How do you became, how did you become to this idea? And yeah, what inspired you to lead the Beyond Stigma project?
Okay. For me, mental health as a topic is a very crucial aspect in the journey towards sustainable development. Talk about technological advancement, talk about climate action, talk about housing, all these the innovations that surrounding this topic spawns from a healthy mind. And being a crucial aspect of sustainable development, it is still one aspect that is relatively ignored. And it's relatively ignored, especially in this part of the world, is because people are not even aware of it. And that also forms the basis for the stigma surrounding it. So I've had personal experience with mental health challenges, even in high school, in my university days. And I didn't have access to the much needed support. So I just had to fight that battle and go through that phase on my own, mostly. So breaking the barriers of stigma that surrounds the topic of mental health is one of the inspirations I had to undertake this project. Because over here, people don't really hold, you hear people, if they want to hold the government accountable, you hear things like road infrastructure, education, um, power supply and all that, but people seldom hold the government accountable to mental health for mental health infrastructures. And that is because they don't even know that these things should exist in the first place. You know, you go to schools, they are all in my presentation. You go to schools, the schools have dilapidated structures, you know, say nothing of a mental health support system or a mental health support structure. And I believe those things that I've experienced or that were personal experiences for me, a lot of young school children, you know, due to poverty, most especially, may be faced with similar challenges, which we got to discover along the line. So this has formed the basis for me to undertake this project by, first of all, creating a culture of inclusion, letting people know that it's okay, it's part of life to not be okay, you know, letting
Mhm.
people understand that there's no shame, especially in the male gender, because over here you hear things like when male or male genders express themselves, they are deemed, you know, weak, or they are seen as weak. They are seen as lesser men and things like that. So those are the stereotypes that surround it, and we really needed to create an awareness, letting people know that your mind matters just as your body. You're not alone. There are people around you. There are people you can reach out to. There are people you can speak to. You know, you should speak up if you're having a mental health challenge, be it depression, be it addiction, as the case may be. So you should be able to speak up. That it's safe to speak up. Just like, and I did a little assessment when I went to the school, you know, my visitation to Evbuomwan Grammar School. I asked the question. I said, how many of you in this class have been, you know, down with fever or malaria? And people put their hands up. A lot of students raised their hands. They were not ashamed of it because, talking about fever or malaria is like a common thing. It's normal as a human being. Once in a while, people can break down with a fever or with a cold or something like that. Then I asked, how many of you have been depressed? People were a little bit, reluctant to share that. And that is because of the idea surrounding it. you know, the feel so if you even go to an average African home and the child tells the mother that he or she is depressed, they will ask, have you eaten? Or are you hungry? So they don't see depression as a thing in itself. They just feel that as long as you're human, as long as you're strong, as long as you've eaten, you should be fine. And that's not it. So whatever innovations, or if we are going to chase any form of advancements in the world, mental health, a healthy mind is a top priority for that. And based on personal experiences, based on the culture we face, the culture that we're currently involved in, I saw it as a point of necessity to start this project. Now, cultural shifts do not happen in a day. they take time. But as long as we're able to begin the process and establish sustainable measures for it, definitely we'll get there. So in the school that we visited, we were able to set up a mental health club. That happened to be the very first mental health club in the entire state, the very first public high school mental health club in the entire state, which has been integrated into the school's system and will serve as a peer support group and bridge the gap between the students and the school management. And also we partnered with a mental health community to provide helplines for the students as well, alongside our virtual events and outreach, to a larger community. So we believe by starting this process of awareness, setting up support and sustainable structures for people to hear their voice and partnerships with relevant organizations and communities, we can begin this process of creating normalcy around the topic of mental health. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks. You brought really important topic on the table for the young people, especially because I remember I talk with a lot of young people around the world, and mostly all of them mentioned that the most important topic for the discussion for getting any trainings, anything, it is mental health topic. Because we're living in the fast changing world now with the different confrontations around the world with the wars and crises as well. And it is really hard, to have really good mental health, and no one teaches about these things at schools, and even our parents not always talking about those things because no one taught them about it. So thank you very much for the job that you are doing and that you are helping young people with this topic, and that's really important. And maybe do you get some feedbacks already from the young people? So how did young people respond on your initiatives that you're doing on mental well-being? Maybe you get some ideas how to improve it or how to get it even more better for the people, or maybe someone who's watching us today can join your big community project and help you scale it in the different other maybe areas in Nigeria or in other countries. So I will be happy to any of your response for this.
We've gotten a lot of testimonials, and even on the assembling ground, because we did a follow-up visit. That was not just, but we didn't carry out a video highlight for that. We just took pictures for that. So to the principal to check on the club and if it has been integrated into the school community, which it has. Of course, they hold their meetings every Friday. So we did a follow-up on that. And even on our virtual section, we've gotten testimonials from people, and even because we established an online community. Aside the mental health club we established a Beyond Stigma online community with mental health experts, sharing tips and mental wellness tips from time to time. We plan to expand that and scale that as well. And I feel it's not even enough. I feel it's not even enough, because I believe a lot of young people should also embark on this journey, on this train, on this project, because like 1 in every 5 people in Nigeria, according to statistics, are battling with a mental health challenge. And that spawns from the over 100 million people living in multidimensional poverty in Nigeria. About 139 million people, there are about 61% of the entire population are living in multidimensional poverty. And I don't know if you've heard, Nigeria has been unofficially classified as the poverty capital of the world, and with life expectancy rate at about 54.9. So the crisis, both including the insecurity crisis and the economic inflation and instability that people face, plunge them into certain mental health challenges, including depression, including addiction, substance abuse, and all of that. So it is very pertinent that we come together to, provide support to people. So for this, the feedback has been very, very positive. I sent some through the Kectil Community Project email. I sent some updates through that. So the feedback has been very, very positive. We got testimonials from people, from the students themselves. We got a lot of reception and students being involved in this, not just the students and even the teachers as well. We extended this to them and to larger youth communities as well have been able to get involved in this. So we are growing, we are scaling, and this is just the beginning.
Great, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for sharing that. And I know that we don't have much time for the discussion, but still, I just have a few questions for you in regard to the Kectil program, because you're also a Kectil colleague for this year. And how did you first get involved with the Kectil program? Where did you hear about this program, about this opportunity for young people?
Okay, I think one of the first places I came across the cohorts, the announcement for the 2025 cohort was on WhatsApp. And I also saw it on different platforms because as someone who is a youth development enthusiast, on the lookout for, opportunities and platforms where I can develop myself and, that will also give me the platform to amplify my voice and express myself. And reading on the Kectil program, reading about the Kectil program, getting to learn about the Kectil program, I saw the Kectil program as a very, very, very good fit for this. And yes, I applied and I got accepted. So far the journey has been one of great insight. I've really learned a lot. And also looking at the modules, the series of modules that the Kectil program takes its colleagues through, on various spheres of life development, from authentic leadership to good governance, mental health, very importantly, and personal finance and entrepreneurship, and the others as well. These are crucial aspects for youth development, because if you're going to make an impact on the global stage, you have to be groomed and you have to be prepared for it. And the Kectil program offers a very, 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 very credible platform for this.
Great, thanks a lot. And what impact has Kectil had on your personal growth and leadership journey? Maybe it's somehow impact in your understanding what does it mean to be a leader?
Okay, in the aspect of leadership, the authentic leadership, that's the very first module. It has been, will I say, I don't know, I would say the module on authentic leadership and mental health has been some of the most interesting for me, because they are very key areas of interest for me. And I was really, really inspired, especially by the story and journey of Martin Luther King Jr. I think I mentioned it on one of these Kectil Special Awards where I was
Yeah.
nominated. Uh, the drum major instinct by Martin Luther King Jr., where people there's this clamor for relevance to be relevant in the society, and that is prioritized over making the much needed impact. So I've really mirrored, myself in that light, and it has helped me develop myself, and try to suppress that particular instinct, fade out the noise and focus on what is really, really important. So it has been a very inspiring journey, a very insightful one, and I've really, really, really learned a lot along the way.
Thanks a lot for sharing that. And what advice would you give to young creatives who want to make a global impact or just like local impact for their communities?
The advice I would give to them is get involved, and learn to work long term. Learn to work long term, because some people do not sacrifice long-term impacts for short-term gains. A lot of people are just after the next meal. What can they get? Be it money, be it sudden benefits. But learn to play the long game, learn to get involved. Do not be indifferent to the situation of the situation of the society you find yourself in. So just get involved in projects, in opportunities for youth development. Put yourself out there, be bold, be confident. And yes, that's would really prepare you to making the much needed change or becoming a change maker generally.
Great, thanks a lot. Thank you, Favour, for sharing your journey, for sharing advices, for sharing, a lot of inspiring things. And your journey is a really powerful example of how creativity, leadership, and compassion can transform communities. And thank you very, very much for sharing your insights and experience with us today. And I believe for everyone who's watching us today, it is really, really impactful thing that you mentioned. And of course, thank you, our viewers, for being with us today too. Don't forget to like, share, and comment and subscribe to our Kectil YouTube channel. And leaders like Favour are showing us that change begins with creativity and collaboration, and of course, passion for doing something for the people. So, thank you very much, Favour, for being today with us and for sharing a lot of insights and lessons from your journey.
Thank you very much for having me. And I'm really once again grateful for this opportunity to express myself and amplify my project and mission and values as well. It's been fun and I really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.